I entered the seminary in 9th grade. I spent 12 years in the seminary, 4 in high school, 4 college, and 4 in theology or graduate school. Of the 163 classmates I had in 9th grade, only 3 of us went all the way through to ordination. Along the line, a number of them discern that they're not being called to the priesthood, other vocations in life. For many students, the faculty decided that they weren't being called to priesthood, and so they were asked to leave the seminary. What happened was that every year we would have 4 quarterly evaluations, and based on those evaluations, you were told if you could continue in the seminary or not. In high school, the evaluations were basically academic in our conduct, but in college and theology, they evaluated every aspect of you, not just your academics, your personality, your personal hygiene, how you walked, your spirituality. They evaluated everything. And so through college and theology, I had 30 such evaluations. Not a single one of them was positive. They were all very negative, and I made it through. The basic concern is that they thought I was too quiet. But the words I used to relay that were sometimes very hurtful. Every year we would have a faculty advisor who would tell us then what our evaluation was. We were being told by one professor that I should not be in any profession or career where I would deal directly with people. The director said I could never be a good priest because I was too quiet. Things along those lines, kind of hurtful, discouraging. Well, there was one faculty member who did encourage me. It was Father Ramon Batanzos. He was a brilliant man. He had 2 doctorates from U of M, one in philosophy, one in history. I had 2 courses from him when I was just one of 2 students. What a wonderful humanities education. But he encouraged me. He kind of said, let that roll off your back. And he shared with me that the quietest member of his class was a very good priest and a good preacher, to kind of hang in there. I think it was his advocacy that got me through the seminary and eventually into the priesthood. Today we continue our message series on words and how words affect ourselves and affect other people. The power of our words. Words can, as Deacon Mark shared with us last week, words can build us up or tear us down, encourage us or discourage us, wound us or heal us, and do that to other people. So we be very careful about the words that we use. As Deacon Mark mentioned last week, we have to look at our heart because what's in our heart eventually makes its way to our lips, right? We can say things that we regret. Today, I'd like to just very briefly reflect on 3 kinds of words or sets of words that we should avoid because they can be very hurtful. One is words that are deceptive or lies. None of us like to be lied to, do we? It can really destroy a relationship. Now, some lies really aren't all that serious. Sometimes if people ask things that are none of their business, we can kind of give white lies to that. When we lie about other things, lie about maybe not sharing a secret, lie about doing something we didn't do, that's going to be very hurtful. Of course, it's important that we not hold back from doing those lies. Second category are words where we slander other people, saying false things about another person to ruin their reputation. That's what the 8th commandment is, thou shalt not bear false witness. And slander is usually lying about another person or other people. Related to that, of course, is gossip. So easy to fall into gossip with the workplace, for instance, or with the family. Gossip sometimes doesn't necessarily lie about another person, but it says things which kind of diminish them, tears them down. Something we really don't want to do, right? I think the best thing to do when you're confronted with gossip is just say a prayer for the person they're gossiping about, or say something positive about that person. You know, they're a good coworker or what have you. So we avoid slanderous kind of, or gossip in our language. And the third kind of language we want to avoid is malicious speech, calling people names, derogatory, tearing people down. It's easy to do that. We see a lot of that in our culture today, particularly in our politics. Any kind of malicious speech that tears people down. Kind of along that lines too is complaining. None of us like to be around people who are always complaining, very negative. So again, we have to search our hearts and kind of make sure that come in our heart is anything that is slanderous, or deceptive, or malicious. Leave that kind of speech behind. I'm going to stop there with our message series. Leave it at that. We have 4 more weeks to reflect on our words. I'm going to do something I try not to do, and I want to kind of transition to a second homily. I can't let Mother's Day go by without at least offering a reflection on Mother's Day. The author Erich Fromm, in his classic work, The Art of Love, claims that a mother's love is the purest form of human love. A mother's love is the purest form of human love. Human love opposed to divine love, God's love. And he makes that case by comparing a mother's love with married love. We believe that in marriage, 2 become 1, right? Husband and wife, by centering lives on each other, giving themselves completely to each other, become 1. And that's a beautiful thing. But in a mother's love, just the opposite is allowed to happen. In a mother's love, what is 1 is allowed to become 2. The mother raises her child. The mother who has been one with the child physically and many other ways raises that child to become independent of her, to go off and to live their own life, to be separate. It's a very difficult thing to do. The mother is called to love her child unconditionally and completely and expect nothing in return. Expect nothing in return, not even the gratitude, except the happiness of the one loved. That's what makes mother's love such a pure love. Loving completely, expecting nothing back, but the happiness of their child. Just how difficult that is, you can see how many, I think, mothers kind of have to struggle with letting go, right? Give a good foundation to your child and then give them wings. And sometimes it's hard to do when it's done to control their life, give them advice, tell them what to do. But the proof of mother's love is, again, to let them go. I had a mother like that. I think I shared before that my mother wasn't keen on me going and becoming a priest. She never told me this, but she did tell other family members that she thought I was so much like my father, I would need a wife to care for me, take care of me. And I shared that with the parish staff, the ladies particularly, said my mother was right. My mother never discouraged me. She didn't want to become a priest, but she never did anything to discourage me. She was able to let go, and I appreciate that. If you had that kind of a mother, thank God for that blessing. If you are a mother, kind of pray to be able to do that. Kind of what we see in today's gospel, too, is that Jesus kind of gives disciples rings, right? Sends His Spirit to be with them, to be one with them, as they go out to continue His work. That's not to diminish, of course, the many sacrifices that mothers make 24/7 in caring for their young family, caring for their children. And we honor that today. We thank them for that today. But in many ways, Erich Fromm would tell us that true test of a mother's love comes when it's time to give them wings.